As John Hartson cried, it's a penalty. Pope John Francis the 17th went over to the VAR monitor and took it away from Celtic. And a penalty that didn't really matter if it was given or not. Well, back to fog football. Celtic, you can say they've been screwed. I thought initially, yes, that's a penalty. But see, looking at the replays, it's an incredibly soft one. But here, soft, hard, boiled, scrambled, poached, good night. Should be a penalty, shouldn't it? Well, the referee did not think so. He went over and he overturned this decision. Normally, you just do not see that happen, normally, unless it's a clear and obvious mistake. And what could you describe this as a clear and obvious mistake? Potentially, but before we get into that decision, it didn't really matter. I think even the most honest of Celtic fans, or biased even in this, would admit that the game was done. There was about 10 seconds to play, even if Celtic did score it. But we kick off the game. It was an even enough start. Kyogo picks up the ball just outside the box, turns on his left foot, shoots. It's a really bad shot. But I'm a Rangers man. I can't really talk about strikers having bad shots because every single striker we've got's immense. Corner whipped in from Lazio. Joe Hart can't deal with it. There's nothing new there. Great ball for Guendouzi, I believe. It was almost like it was just the amount of whip on it, and it found Felipe Anderson at the back post, but he headers it into the ground. Not a good Ozil shot into the ground where it hits the ground and flies over the keeper. This just hit the ground and flew over the top of the net. So it was absolutely, the warning signs were there for Celtic, but I think overall Celtic were alright in this game, to be honest. And the first half, we have we have a chance where it's over the top. Kyogo tries to bring it down, but it's good defending by, is it Felipe, I believe? I'm not too sure who it was. So half time, I took the dogs a walk, but back. Kyogo then had a chance. He almost scored. Immobile gets brought on though, and you're thinking, right, the writing's on the wall. But I thought it was quite an even game. Honestly, I think it could have went either way, but it just seemed like, I say quite an even game, right? It was 22 shots to 7, but a lot of Lazio's shots weren't particularly great. And, if it's 0-0 going into the 82nd minute, you're in the game. You've competed. Even though they completely blew it within 3 minutes and went 2-0 down, and then you're automatically out the game. It would be biased of me to turn around and say that Celtic were never in this game. Of course they were. But it doesn't change the fact it's been a really poor Champions League campaign. Oh, but Rangers last season. Aye, right, yes, Rangers last season. Absolutely abysmal. Willing to accept that. I don't think any Rangers fans going to dispute that, man. It was an absolute disgrace. But if Celtic's claim to fame in this Champions League is, well, we finished with 1 point, and that's one more point than Rangers got last season. It is, 15 attempts to win now for Celtic in a row in the Champions League group stages, and they've lost. They've not lost, but they haven't won a game, and that is a British record. They said that after the game. I'm surprised that Neil Lennon didn't go, oh, hold on there, sweetheart. British? You mean Irish? For Springburn? But no, he didn't say that. But yeah, that's not a good record, man. To not win 15 games, is a bit of a disgrace for me. And yeah, against Lazio at home, they could have won. Here, maybe against Feyenoord, they'll win. But, let's be real, 15 divided by 2, if you know your math, 7.5. So, either way, you're looking at 7 home games or 8 home games around that region, and they haven't been able to turn any of them into victories. It's just not really good enough from Celtic. Look at last season, they had Shakhtar and Leipzig. Oh, but what about when Kalmak hit the post against Real Madrid? Well, that doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't. It doesn't. But let's get to the 2 goals for Lazio. First goal, it's a bit unlucky, but for me, it's really poor defending in the sense of the guy who's been able to get the deflected cross in has had 6 Celtic players on him, and not one of them is getting touch tight. They're just nowhere near him, which allows the cross to come in. It deflects, falls into the path of Immobile. He's not going to miss from there. He puts it into the roof of the net. It's practically unsavable. And then the second goal, Carter Vickers gets took for a smoothie. He gets took for a smoothie around the back of the Rome Coliseum. But yeah, Carter Vickers has had a season to forget for me. It's all about Liam Scales this season in terms of a Celtic centre back point of view. And we've also got the penalty decision. Like I said, initially I was like, yeah, he's pushed it over there. When you slow it down, it looks very cheap of a penalty, but I'm surprised he overturned it. But like I said at the start, it does not matter the fact that they overturned it. It doesn't. And then, you know, the fact it's 15 games without a win in the Champions League, a new British record. It's not been a good day for Celtic. Lennon on post-match is talking about, well, you know, it's all about the league. And then the woman presenter tried to bury Scottish football, and then, to be fair to him, Owen Hargreaves said, well, Rangers have proved it can be done. They went on a good run, the Europa League final. And we did, but then the Champions League campaign for Rangers was a disaster. But it's the last thing Celtic needed. They're not really in good form. And again, it fuels why I'm so annoyed at Rangers dropping points against Aberdeen, because Celtic are not that good, but Rangers are not that good either. And when the chance is to put pressure on, Rangers' arse collapses, and Celtic's doesn't collapse as bad. But tonight, 2-0, job done, they're out of Europe, pish. And no, another thing I almost forgot to mention, after the game, Joe Hart, right, obviously I'm not a Celtic fan, but Joe Hart's laughing and joking with Mobley, like, he scored 2 goals past me and put us out of fucking Europe quality into it. What? What's that all about? There's no Celtic fan got a problem with that. See when we get pumped against Aris Lamasol, see if Jack Butland was joking about, I can't even remember an Aris Lamasol player, but see if he was sitting there joking about with their number 9, I'd be like, what the fuck's he doing? That's pish mentality. It is like, because, I mean, this ain't a throwaway game in the Champions. This ain't like the next game where, I mean, it's done. Even then, I think it's not excused. I mean, Celtic needed to win this game to have a chance of qualification, and they blew it, and Joe Hart's sitting there laughing like it doesn't matter. Well, maybe it doesn't matter, because the SPFL is where the bread, that's your bread and butter. Anyway, guys, till next time, the European Review Show. I got one right, even though I said 3-1, but 2-0's pretty much 3-1, isn't it?